Hi guys, Catmaster here with another video. I just recorded one about this Seismic Trap Poison Bladefall Decay Trapper that I made in HCSSF, and I thought I'd quickly take the time to go over the gear, the gem setups, and the passive tree as well. So if you're more interested in the character than you were when you watched the video, then make sure to watch this one as well. So as you can see, we got some pretty decent damage. This was a tier 12 map in standard after I died, where I just quickly tested how good the character would clear. The character was only 81 and I only had level 18 gems, was running on a 5-link for a Seismic Trap, and I felt that it was pretty competent at getting the job done. Obviously could have been much better, but this was what we ended up with so far. And yeah. How did we get that damage and that uptime on Seismic Trap? Even though it does take a while to recover, it actually I managed to get the cooldown from it was 8 seconds base cooldown down to 3 seconds now, and that's obviously a combination of Saboteur being able to reduce by 50%, I think, with the Ascendancy. We got Chain Reaction for 50% increased cooldown recovery rate for traps, and I used Advanced Traps, which originally I just thought was a meme, an interesting idea to be able to use it more often, and initially I was hoping that maybe I could use only Seismic Trap for clear, but this actually has more benefits because of the way that Seismic Trap works. When you throw a Seismic Trap, the trap releases waves of burst during the duration. It has a duration, and it also releases waves on a base frequency of 0.9 seconds, but this frequency scales with trap throwing speed. So not only do you benefit from the increased cooldown recovery rate for throwing traps from advanced traps, but you also benefit from the increased skill effect duration, because that gives more time for the trap to release waves of bursts. And you also benefit from the trap throwing speed, because the trap throwing speed makes it so that wave releasing of the releasing of waves with bursts is at a higher frequency. So you get more bursts per second and you get a longer duration. So this is actually a pretty decent more multiplier per trap. So we replaced, I think, what was it, Void Manipulation with it, because I realized that Void Manipulation with increased chaos damage would only scale a very, very small part of the base damage, which is the poison portion that is added by chance to poison and by added chaos damage, which I don't think I was even using at the time. So I thought Advanced Traps is better because the skill effect duration and the trap throwing speed, as in how long the thing lasts and how often it ticks, does not only scale how many poisons I apply with it, but it also scales the base damage, how often the base hit damage comes out. So the setup for Seismic Trap, level 18 gem, was trap and mind damage support, added chaos damage, advanced traps, and chance to poison, just to cap myself up at 100% chance to poison on hit, together with Serpentine Spellslinger and Fatal Toxins cluster, where we got another 25% here and another 25% here, or something like that. 10, 15, yeah, 25 there, 25 there for 50, and then 40 here. And I think I had another 10 somewhere else, because I thought I was at 100%. No, we actually went down to 90%. I probably was planning to pick up 10% here, like get these two for 10%. So that would have been great. But honestly, poison was no longer the focus. I think I got... Yeah, true, I was running Herald of Agony. While I was still trying to make Bladefall Trap work, I was running Herald of Agony for 20% global chance to poison on hit and 10% more poison damage, which then I gave up because I found out that Bladefall would deal more damage if we actually made a decay setup out of it. If you want to hear a little bit more about my thoughts regarding the build, check out the previously released video. I'm quickly gonna talk about Trap and Mine, Decay, Void Manipulation, the setup for Bladefall in Deerstalker, so it's supported by level 11 Trap, That is a pseudo 5 link, so we got a 5 link for clearing and another 5 link for bossing. Later on a 6 link, or if I use the tabula, which I switched out of because honestly getting a 1200 evasion chest piece with 100 plus life and some decent resists was a blessing, and I managed to 5 link it relatively easily. The helmet is filler, as you can see, 50 life, some resists, huge chunk of evasion though. I managed to get a Deep Thoughts Anoint on my amulet. As you can imagine, with the changes to mana reservation, the mana sustain was quite rough, with traps having such a high cost. As you can see, if I spell my skills, I can easily deplete my mana. Oh wait, also depleted the reservation with Smoke Mine. And yeah, I just want to make sure that I always have enough mana to do my full combo when I get into the boss, especially if I have to do 2 rotations instead of 1. But most bosses actually melted quite hard. Up to the point that I played, I was sure that that would continue to be a trend up into yellow maps. So again, Deep Thoughts Anoint for mana regen, just because I had the oils and was cheap. Obviously in endgame you would pick a better Anoint, but that's what I was working with. We stretch all the way from the Serpentine Spellslinger down here to Thick Skin and Wind Dancer, and in between we pick up basically all meaningful damage scaling, mostly trap damage scaling. Clever Construction, obviously a must-have for a trapper, so the traps cannot be damaged for 5 seconds after being thrown. And also this Growth and Decay, a little bit of damage scaling for the damage over time portion. This helps both the decay damage and the poison damage, so I picked it up early on. And this is not necessarily something that you need to keep until end, but pretty good to have, especially since the leveling with the build is good as Bane or with Blight, right? I wouldn't level it again as a trapper because I really didn't enjoy the whole thing, and honestly Bane and Blight is much better. Has about the same damage, I would say, per second for clear, but less of a delay, so you get into less or fewer awkward situations if you use that skill. Yeah, that's it. Phase Acro. Don't really know what else to say here. We got a Hindu Jewel, got a CB Jewel. Made sure to equip those 1 map before we died with the characters, so we don't keep these unethical powerhouses that trivialize the game. Using a Bear Trap to keep enemies in place to debuff them, because enemies take 25% increased damage from trap or mine hits with the base Bear Trap. It doesn't help the ailment, but it still helps the DPS overall because it locks the enemies in place with 80% less movement speed, so they don't move out of the AoE of the trap. Running Malevolence and got an unsocketed, unlinked Grace here just for the Val Grace. Using Bane with Despair, Controlled Destruction just for a little bit more damage on the Bane. That's also how I found out that the 3-link Bane basically clears as well as the 5-link trap. it's kind of ridiculous with less delay, so Bane is much better than this skill, but I love this for flavor. I love the 2.1, 2.2 Poison Bladefall trappers back in the day. Running Frostblink with Arcane Surge and Vortex. Vortex was on left mouse button as a level 1 gem, really low cost, but it would constantly drop the vortices, which chill enemies on top of them, and gave me a little bit more of a breather, right? When I was in the middle of a pack that was degenning down, could use Smoke Mine and Vortex for chilled ground and for blind, and enemies would deal much less damage to me than they normally do, just because they don't hit as often and their hits don't land as often. They miss quite a lot. Then Withering Step, obviously to apply Wither. I didn't have a Wither setup, and I ran a high level Clarity just to get all the mana regen that I need. One big downfall of the build is that I should have used Enduring Cry even at a low level, because 77 strength would not have allowed me to level it very high, but Enduring Cry, Second Wind, and a cast when damage taking Immortal Call would have been great. They wouldn't have prevented me from dying the stupid death that I died, but it would have been great. I'm really sad about having lost this ring, because tier 1 life, tier 2 chaos res, but not really a lot of resist, so not terrible. I utilized this mana flap mana craft from Unveiling because I really wanted to make sure that I'm never out of mana. And that's basically it in terms of interesting gear. A +1 all spell skill gems imbued wand with chaos.multicraft, again from Unveiling, and a questionable flask setup. Nah, that's actually kind of okay. I didn't have a curse remove, but that wasn't what killed me. Flasks are difficult this time around. I'll make another video about that when I collected more information. If you want to make sure that you don't miss that video, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, as we're going to be uploading videos daily here again, talking about Path of Exile, about mechanics, about the content, about development, and obviously about the builds that we like to play. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, check out all the other videos on this channel. If there's any questions about this build in particular, I will link the path of building down below, and you can watch my stream obviously, although I'm not going to be playing this, but you can ask any questions in the comments down below. Please, one more disclaimer, this is not a build guide, this is just a quick rant about my gem setups, my gear, and my passive tree, so that those who were more interested in the build from the previous video could get a deeper look at it. So yeah, if you want advice, don't play this build, because it's not quite as great as I would like it to be, but I'll probably try and do like a super endgame optimized PoB at some point this league and see how far we can get it. I don't know whether this performs better than a non-poison setup, that's what I'm trying to say. Seismic Trap is an amazing skill though. I think maybe we will do a full conversion Seismic Trap build at some point, but there's not really that many options in terms of ascendancies, because Saboteur is just way too good for mines and traps, and it's also really good in the current meta where we struggle with elemental ailments and we get immunity to ignite and shock from Pyromaniac, so you only really need to care about freeze and chill on your tree and gear, and that's really doable even with just one gear slot if the unique ring dream fragments is something that you have available, or during leveling with Wanderlust boots. Very, very juicy ascendancy, very low mental maintenance. You just pick up Pyromaniac and have freeze immune somewhere, and a lot of the problems this patch are alleviated. Although I have to say that for this build specifically, I went Perfect Crime and Chain Reaction first, because the cooldown recovery, the increased area of effect, and obviously the reduced cost of skills that throw traps, and the chance for them to trigger an additional time, all are super huge stats. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you learned something as always. Wish you a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.